We are here today with Mandee Davis, who is one of the former graduates of the PLIQ program, and I really want to thank her for joining us to give you some insight into how PLIQ has enhanced her education or helped her as she graduated. So we're just going to have a conversation. I'm going to turn it over to Mandee now to tell us a little bit about her background, why she chose pharmacy, and when she graduated, some of just kind of the foundation, how long she's been out, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, I'm Mandee Davis. I went to SWASU, graduated last year in 2019 in May. So actually in a few days will be the 1-year anniversary of me being a pharmacist. So I started in 2015, graduated last year. I went through the PLIQ program as well as the MBA program. I got into pharmacy originally because my mom was a pharmacist. I'd always been exposed to it. I can't even really describe why. I just knew that I liked the drugs, and I helped her on some medical mission trips with the pharmacy component and helping her with those. I thought, this is what I want to do. And then once I was in pharmacy school, kind of changed a little bit, knowing that there was a lot it could do as far as having a career. There's a lot of different directions you can go with it. And then as I started working more as an intern in a retail pharmacy, I saw how different pharmacists took care of their patients, kind of. And that kind of made me realize I actually do it because I just like to take care of people. And I have a very high standard of what it is to take care of my patients. Yeah, so that's pretty much why I went into pharmacy. And then it did change throughout school into knowing that I really just want to take care of people. So I currently am a pharmacy manager for CVS, but in one of the stores that's inside Target in Oklahoma City. I floated as a pharmacist for about 6 months. I had a temporary pharmacist in charge position and then got my store in March. So yeah, that's kind of the background. And that's currently what I'm doing. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So tell me some about what grabbed your interest about PLIQ. Why did you decide to apply and kind of take on that extra work?
So as an intern, I worked for CVS and Target. I've been with them since before I was even in pharmacy school. And I had always known that I wanted to move up in the company, even beyond being a pharmacist or pharmacy manager, and have a more administrative role, and likely stay with a single company, but also kind of wanted, or I knew that I've just always known that I wanted a different, more advanced position or something different, whether it be with a drug company or an insurance company. Like I said, my mom was a pharmacist and she had a lot of different roles like that. She was medical director for a group of doctors. She just had a lot of cool positions, and I knew I wanted something like that. And so I knew that a program like this, it just sounded like it would be something that prepared me for a more different, more advanced role or something different, essentially. That's what kind of grabbed my interest. Yeah, and I'll be honest, part of me too, I was a complete overachiever and just couldn't say no to anything. So that's a big.
So let's talk a little bit about your experience in the classes. So we have the three, so leadership and innovation and quality outcomes. How did that work for you? What skills do you think you picked up? What did you like the most or the least?
Yeah, so like I said, I vividly remember during the leadership class, which is what I think that was second year of pharmacy school, maybe.
Yes.
I vividly remember during the course of that semester, thinking to myself, I've never thought like this before. So everything you learn in pharmacy school, not everything, but the majority of it, especially your first couple years, is very concrete. It's science, it's black and white. And that's, in my opinion, how the majority of undergrad is too. And I remember thinking, I've never thought like this into more abstract ideas, things that aren't so black and white or concrete. And I really liked in the leadership class how we got to understand ourselves. That's the things I remember about the leadership course. That one in particular, I just remember thinking, I've never thought like this before in a very abstract way. That whole semester, I thought that and got to know myself as a leader. And I just remember being able to understand others a little bit better and then get an idea of how to tailor your conversations and coaching and talking to other people differently based on them. That was kind of a complicated way to say that. But yeah, so I very much remember learning about myself and others and how to make conversations better in the leadership class. That was the big takeaway for me in that one, was being able to work with people better and get through to people more. Big thing for me.
What about innovation?
So innovation, that was just a summer class. We did it 2 or 3 days in the summer. That's how that one was set up, right?
On the weekends, yeah. So 2 weekends.
Okay, yeah. So I really liked that one too. Again, it was one of those things that this whole program is just like this abstract thinking that you don't really get anywhere else. And the thing that stuck out to me was the brainstorming. And I was talking to my friend who did PLIQ about this, and I can't even, it's really hard to put into words what you learned, but then you see yourself do something and you're like, oh, I don't think I would have been able to do that had I not had the training that I had through PLIQ and then some of the other things I've done, but PLIQ especially. So the big one for me that I think innovation did is like in my current job, they're really scaring us with flu shot season coming up. They think it's going to be a complete mess, and it's going to be just because there's going to be such a high demand, which I'm excited about because it's a lot of flu shots and I think that's awesome. But I've been really trying to actively think out what I can do in my store, what changes I can make to make things run more smoothly, whether that be prepare little baskets ahead of time with all the cotton balls and Band-Aids and alcohol swabs for each person, or what kind of assembly line am I going to have, because we have to have that now because of COVID, having people so far apart. So I've been really trying to think through how I can adjust things to make it go more smoothly. And also when I'm not there, for them to be able to do that too. And I think that the way that I'm doing it, it's hard to concretely put it into words, but I think that the innovation course taught me how to put that together, brainstorm, and think through a situation like that, and make it come to fruition. Pretty much. So it's hard to describe, but I think changing a process and making it better or more efficient, I think that that's a huge skill that comes from that innovation class. And I think that class is also really important for pharmacists now, because healthcare is changing so much and the pharmacist role especially is changing a lot. And I think that class makes you a little bit more adaptive to change as well. And I think that just in general, if you're going to pharmacy school right now, you have to be willing to completely change what you're doing. And especially if you're going to be leading people, you're going to have to be able to completely adapt to whatever comes. So I think our rules are changing. And therefore, if you're going to lead people or be in a higher up position, you'll have to be especially adaptive.
So when you look at the quality outcomes class, and you're obviously in a retail environment,
Mm-hmm.
how does that translate into that retail environment when we talk about quality outcomes?
For me, I think it's that, in retail, we're judged on so many metrics. And I think it helps me kind of put a plan in place to fix those or to make those metric scores better. That's kind of, I think, and it's one of those things, like I said before, it's hard to concretely put into words, but I think it gives you a good idea of how to work through one of those metrics and figure out a plan in place to get that score up. Or something for me that I think in my retail, so I run a slower store and my goal is to grow the business. And I think that the quality outcomes class really helped me kind of figure out how I really remember the Lean Six Sigma stuff we talked about. I I want to run, I mean, I know that I work for a corporation, but I really want my store to be profitable and grow it and that kind of thing.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your experiences, because you did the dual degree. You did the MBA, PharmD, and then you also did PLIQ. So what would you say the differences in the program are? Are there certain reasons to go into both, or what would you recommend to students who are considering both or trying to decide between one or the other?
Okay. I personally, I would recommend doing both. I think I learned very different things. I think the only thing I ever saw slight overlap with the MBA program was not with PLIQ. It was with the management and marketing or the admin classes that you taught us. There was slight overlap, but the MBA still had a ton of other classes that you would have never gotten that knowledge in the regular program. I think that the PLIQ program and MBA work really well together. The MBA program is more like the rest of the PharmD program. It's more concrete information. They don't really change your thinking at all or get you to think outside the box. It's more of developing business skills like how to use Excel, which I still don't know. But it's more concrete things like more black and white concepts, kind of like the rest of PharmD, which they were all very important. And I think they've definitely helped me, especially now that I'm a manager and trying to run a profitable business. But PLIQ is very different in what it taught me than what the MBA program did. So I think they are very compatible in that PLIQ gives you the critical thinking skills to turn the black and white stuff into success, or to be able to successfully implement them. So it's easy the MBA is more like, I see this in a textbook, and then I think the PLIQ program helps you to be able to turn that into, whatever role you're in using it.
Okay. So for you, when you graduated, you gave us a little bit of a background about where you went directly after that, and you have pretty concrete goals about what you want to do or get to. So as you got out of school and started applying for jobs, which I know for you was a little bit different too, how did PLIQ play into that? Were there questions about it? Do you think it added to your attractiveness, if you will, as a candidate?
Yeah. So I think, like you said, my situation was different in that I pretty much had a job lined up because I was an intern for this district the entire time throughout pharmacy school. I had a good relationship with our supervisor, and it was just kind of set in stone that I was going to come on and work for them, starting as a floater pharmacist and then eventually work up. So for me, I can't really say I had that experience trying to use, leveraging that to make myself more attractive as a candidate. However, what I can tell you is that, sorry, that was loud. It made me, so like this program I'm doing now that, I'm doing some extra things with CVS, taking on some different roles in the district and doing a few other things that will eventually help me move up. I think that the skills that I have from PLIQ, and then probably also the fact that it's not a credential, but I mean, it's there. I think that makes me more attractive for the other things I'm doing with the company, not just getting the job. However, I think that if I were hiring someone and they had this, depending on the role, if I was going to hire them as a pharmacy manager or something like that, I would definitely think that it would make them more attractive, as I know that they probably had critical thinking skills that I think a lot of pharmacists miss out on because they think they're there to have drug knowledge and fill a prescription. But, even as a staff pharmacist, especially now, like you're in charge of helping run a business. So I think that the skills that PLIQ taught me has in turn made me a more attractive candidate to move up into, rather than just stay as a floater pharmacist, but already being a pharmacy manager. So
let's tell everybody a little bit more about the program you're entering, because I think they will find that interesting. And
can't really say a whole lot.
Okay.
Not say much. Basically, I'll just say that CVS does have some good trainings to move up those that want to move up. You have to apply But yeah, I'll pretty much just say that, you have to apply to get into these, and they give you some additional training to kind of, groom you to be one of their future leaders. So I think that my skills I've had have helped me do well in my store to get to be in one of those programs, I think.
So if you were, this video will be watched by students who are interested in applying for PLIQ or considering applying for PLIQ. So what advice would you give them to help them in their process of deciding if applying is for them?
One thing that stuck out to me was that I think a lot of people will do stuff to make their resume look good. If you're just trying to do it to make your resume look good, don't do it, because it is more work. And it is something you do have to devote some brain power to. You have to actually apply yourself to make it work. If you're just looking for something to spruce up your resume, don't do it. You have to actually want to develop those skills within yourself, which I think everyone should want to, because it'll make you a better pharmacist, even if you just do staff pharmacist or just hospital pharmacist. If that's all you want to do, I think this will still make you better at that. But if you really just want to spruce up your resume, I don't think that this is for you. I think if you know that you want to have those skills beyond just the black and white drug knowledge, even if you're just going to do pharmacy manager or something like that, I think if you want to have those extra skills, it'll make you, I guess, a step ahead. That one's kind of hard to say, but like I said at first, yeah, you can cut this if you want. But like I said at first, if you just want to spruce up your resume, don't do it. You have to put brain power in it. You have to actually, I guess, be interested in having those extra critical thinking skills.
Would you say, if someone's looking at it in terms of, would I be able to juggle the work, that the way the classes are structured makes that completely possible while you're in school? So while it's more work, it's not necessarily
I think so.
Heavily into your semester?
Yeah. Are they all during the summer now?
Yeah.
Summer?
Well, yeah. Leadership is still in the spring semester.
Okay. Yeah, well, summer. And that took the place of one of our electives, didn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So the leadership one, I did not feel that added a significant stressor on me or anything like that semester. I really liked that class. It was one I enjoyed going to. And like I said, it was one that I felt like was really making a difference in how I thought. And it sounds weird, but I remember thinking I feel more like a grown-up thinking those things rather than just, being tested on drugs and stuff like that. And then the summer classes, I was in the MBA program too. So I had multiple summer classes for the MBA program as well. And I never felt that it was overwhelming at all. And I worked during the summers. So I had 6 hours worth of MBA stuff plus these classes during the summer. And I think it's fine. Yeah. And like I said, I worked not full time, but probably 20, 30 hours a week during the summer too. And I thought it was fine. So that shouldn't be something that sways people.
Is there anything else you would want to add or share with students that are watching this video right now?
The big thing was that like I said, if you're just doing it to try to spruce up your resume, don't bother, because you have to actually put some work into it to, I think, make it worthwhile. But I think if you do put that work in, it's so helpful.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today and to share your experience with the students. I know they'll appreciate it.
Yeah, they can all reach out to me too.